Hello and welcome to Chabot News for March 12, 2026. My name is Enrique, and today we are covering attacks on U.S. embassies, strong winds damaging a school, and the mayor's State of the City address. In entertainment, Chantal will tell you about the Kesha slamming the White House. This week, Chris Dorr will give us his top 5. And finally, in sports news, Manny has the latest updates on Profar's one-year ban from baseball. All that and more coming up in today's edition of Chabot News. New this morning, the U.S. is closing 2 embassies in the Middle East and reducing its diplomatic presence in the region. This just 4 days after the U.S. and Israel launched a military attack on Iran in an operation that currently has no expiration date. Brian Abel is at the White House with the latest.
The U.S. embassies in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait both hit by suspected drone attacks and now shut down. As Iran steps up its retaliatory strikes on American assets and allies in the Middle East, the State Department warning all Americans to leave almost the entire region immediately. This, as some members of Congress are questioning Operation Epic Fury, saying from the information they've seen, there was no imminent threat to the U.S. by the Iranians.
There was a threat to Israel. But if we equate a threat to Israel as the equivalent of an imminent threat to the United States, then we are in uncharted territory.
This is the 4th day of this war. We've had 4 different explanations of why we decided to invade Iran.
The White House not ruling out sending more troops into the line of fire. In an interview with the New York Post, President Trump said he would put boots on the ground if they were, quote, necessary. A similar message from the Pentagon.
We'll go as far as we need to go.
More than 700 people have been killed in Iran since the war began, according to the U.S.-based human rights activist news agency. And President Trump is warning Iran the largest strikes are yet to come. Trump posting on Truth Social Tuesday morning, their air defense, Air Force, Navy, and leadership is gone. They want to talk. I said, too late. At the White House, Brian Abel reporting.
Thank you for that report, Brian. The drone attacks on the U.S. embassies in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia were not the only attacks against the U.S. The U.S. consulate in Karachi, Pakistan, was attacked by rioters on March 1st. At least 22 rioters were killed in the defense of the consulate. A storm packing 70-mile-per-hour winds knocked off part of an elementary school roof on Sunday. Workers were at Lincoln Elementary in Great Falls on Monday and inspecting the damage. School officials determined that students in grades kindergarten to 3rd grade will be able to return to the school. That is expected to happen as early as Wednesday. Students in 4th through 6th grade will attend other nearby schools until repairs are completed. Climatologists warned that as global temperatures increase, the chances for strong weather events will increase. Hayward Mayor Mark Salinas will deliver the annual State of the City address at 6 p.m. on Thursday, March 12th, at the Hayward Unified School District Performing Arts Center at 2390 Panama Street in Hayward. The State of the City is an opportunity for Hayward community members to hear directly from their mayor on city government affairs, new developments and initiatives, and progress on City Council approved priorities and programs. During the State of the City address, Mayor Salinas will also provide an update on actions taken close to an approximately $30 million structural budget deficit in the city's general fund this fiscal year while maintaining core municipal services. The event is free and open to the public and pre-registration is not required. Sources say the Justice Department is pressuring prosecutors to bring criminal charges against former CIA Director John Brennan. He is being investigated for testimony he gave to Congress in 2023 that was on the investigation he conducted into possible Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election. The push for charges started in January, but career prosecutors in South Florida resisted. Some of them thought the case was weak. Now the Justice Department is exerting new pressure on them. You've probably seen them on a nearby street corner near stores in your neighborhood. People spinning signs to get your attention for a business. There's an art to that. In Las Vegas this past weekend, the 19th annual World Science Spinning Competition was held. Organizers call it the ultimate competition where sports and advertising come together. Spinners came from dozens of U.S. cities and some international locations. Contestants were judged on technical ability, execution, and of course, style. The competition is fun and full of literal twists and turns. If you think you can get your spin on, then check it out. You might like it. Speaking of spinning, let's see what's spinning in entertainment news of Chantal Perez.
Thanks, Enrique. Kesha is no stranger to standing up for what she believes. Recently, Kesha called out the Trump administration after the White House used her music on TikTok without her permission. The February post featured a video showing a military fighter jet shooting a missile at a naval ship set to her 2010 hit Blow. In a social media post, Kesha says she does not approve of her music being used to promote violence and make light of war, calling the video disgusting and inhumane. A White House communications official responded, saying criticism only boosts view counts. The hunt for the One Piece continues. A new season of the pirate adventure One Piece debuted this week on Netflix. Let's go to Rick Damigella's report on season 2.
A pirate is someone who has adventures and dreams.
The Straw Hat Pirates set sail for season 2 of One Piece.
My friends,
we put together an amazing crew, made it to the Grand Line, and now we're one step closer to our dreams.
The live-action streaming series is based on the popular manga and anime of the same name.
It's an honor to play these characters. I feel really happy that people enjoy what we do. I give it my best. I do it with love. I'm grateful for the opportunity. But there's nothing we can't take on. Together!
beat down time, baby.
The show makes extensive use of practical effects and sets.
It's such craftsmanship, and I often wish that they could take these sets and like put them in an amusement park or put them in somewhere where fans could come and see just the level of quality that these things are made with.
I was a fan prior to season 1, prior to it coming into a live action adaptation, and so every day feels like a dream. I feel like a lot of us feel that way.
Sometimes you end up somewhere you never thought you would.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Thanks, Rick. If you're looking for a new show filled with adventure, this is a must-watch. I'm Chantal, and that is all for entertainment. Now back to you, Enrique.
Thanks, Chantal. Oil prices spiked to their highest levels in 8 months on Monday. Currently, crude oil is trading above 73, and Brent crude is climbing to more than $78 a barrel. Analysts say those prices are likely to keep rising if ships are forced to keep avoiding the Strait of Hormuz. The narrow waterway between Iran and Oman is the main route for shipping crude from countries like Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. About 20 million barrels of oil pass through the strait every day. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps says it will target any vessels passing through the strait. CNN's Eleni Giokos has more.
I mean, over the years, we've been looking at various geopolitical, conflicts and tensions. You'd think, why haven't oil markets really responded? A lot of that has been baked in, and OPEC Plus has done a good job on focusing on supply and demand. We've got a different scenario here, and I think we've got 3 energy shocks that we're looking at right now. You mentioned the Strait of Hormuz. If we see a total disruption there, we're talking about another big impact in the oil market. That a lot of that was kind of forecast and put into the models in terms of what a strike in Iran could potentially mean. What was not priced in is Iran striking critical energy infrastructure. We've seen that happening in Saudi Arabia at one of the refineries. They haven't stopped production, but still, it changes perception and risk in terms of constraints there. Then you have the strike in Qatar on an LNG facility, the country declaring force majeure there. So you've got no natural gas that is being released from that Qatar facility. And again, Qatar is the largest producer of natural gas. 50% increase on LNG prices in Europe yesterday. But again, for context, it was not as high as what we saw when Russia invaded Ukraine. So the big question is, and I've spoken to quite a few analysts, and they're saying, we're going to see triple-digit increases. What's interesting is that you've got Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State, saying the U.S. was anticipating this. They're going to be announcing some kind of mitigation plan towards the end of the day today in terms of how they're going to try and temper the increases in the oil market. But it's supply-demand, Becky, and OPEC Plus saying we're going to try fill that gap. But if you can't get the stuff moving through the Strait of Hormuz or even through the Saudi pipeline, it's going to cause problems and inflationary impact.
Thanks for the expert analysis, Eleni. Wall Street has predicted that oil may go as high as $100 per barrel due to Middle East hostilities, a 50% increase in oil prices. We sent our own reporter, Bruce Malloy, out on campus to see how increased gas prices were impacting people's lives.
Yes, I was wondering how the increased prices of gas were impacting your life.
You know, we got solar panels and went totally electric in our house, so we're not doing gas there. I did a hybrid. I was going to do an electric car, so I decided to do a hybrid. I've definitely noticed a change in how much I'm actually spending on gas. I'm not looking forward to going to the gas tank, but I have to, or the gas station.
So how is the increase in gas prices impacting your life?
It's impacted my life a lot, honestly, just to get to work, to get to anywhere. I feel like everywhere I go, the prices are increasing a lot, and it's just too much, and definitely making just barely like the minimum income. It's a lot. So it affects me a lot every day.
Thanks for that amazing report, Bruce. I guess the only way to console ourselves about our tightening wallets is that we'll need to eat more ice cream. Speaking of ice cream, let's go to Chris Dorr for his top 5.
Thanks, Enrique. Ice cream is one of my favorite desserts. It's cold, sweet, and it comes in many flavors. Here are my top 5 favorite ice cream flavors. At number 5, we have cookies and cream. This was my go-to ice cream when I was younger. The chocolate sandwich cookies mix very well with the vanilla ice cream. This is also my favorite ice cream to make into a milkshake. At number 4, we have mint chocolate chip. When I tell people that I eat my greens, I'm usually referring to mint chocolate chip ice cream. If this were my top 5 best looking ice cream flavors, then mint chocolate chip would be number 1. But today we are focused on taste. In addition to its nice green color, it also has a great minty taste. For number 3, we have Rocky Road. I usually get car sick, so I'm not a big fan of driving on rocky roads, but I do like Rocky Road ice cream. The chocolate ice cream mixed with marshmallows and nuts is a great tasting combination. If I eat too much of it, I will probably get sick, but at least I won't get car sick. Coming in at number 2, we have chocolate fudge brownie. I'm a big fan of chocolate ice cream and brownies, so obviously I'm a big fan of putting these two together. You could never go wrong with too much chocolate. However, my dentist says otherwise. And finally, at number 1, we have chocolate chip cookie dough. If I could only eat one ice cream flavor for the rest of my life, it would be this one. The vanilla ice cream combined with chocolate chip cookie dough always manages to hit the spot, even on a cold winter day. And that's it for my top 5. Now back to you, Enrique.
Thanks for that great top 5, Chris. A Bay Area festival brought together food vendor, artists, and car enthusiasts for a day. Celebrating a local creativity, thousands gathered at Chabot College for the West Coast Makers Foodie Fest, where small businesses from across the region showcase their flavors, fashion, and culture.
More than 100 vendors filled the parking lot of Chabot College Saturday afternoon, February 28th, as the West Coast Makers Foodie Fest brought thousands out to celebrate food, fashion, and culture. From sizzling street eats to custom clothing and classic cars, the all-day festival showcased small businesses from across the Bay Area.
There's about 110 of us today. We have food, we have merchandise, we have nonprofit booths that serve the community.
Live music kept the energy high, with the beats spinning throughout the afternoon.
There's a lot of vendors out here who they make their living off of being out here and selling, whether it's the food, whether it's the makers, whether it's crafts, whether it's whatever they're doing. This is the lifestyle.
Car enthusiasts also pulled up in style, turning heads with classic rides.
We're out here supporting this West Coast Makers event, just out here showing off the cars. That's what we're all about, supporting our community out here, trying to help out, give back, seeing what we can do.
Vendors say the turnout made a big impact.
We out here representing with the West Coast Makers. Big shout out to Tatiana. You already know, come through, get some lumpia, some barbecue, everything you need. Feel me, we got you.
Today I'm selling my merch. I'm Mac and the Mob, and I have an online clothing store. I also do music, so I'm also here to promote my music and just basically being a part of the community, you know, hanging out. I'm gonna try some of the food and everything. Be on the lookout for my new single I got out right now with Keep the Sneak called Real Hyphy. It's going crazy.
Even attendees felt inspired.
Flap your wings like a ladybug. 2 times 10, 20 riggities. Gucci bucket hat made in the Philippines. We out here wiggling. I'll shout to the bubble room. We got the bubble thing jumping off. And you know, Numps Lumpia, man. You know, your brother still got the Lumpia.
We're going to be out here also March 14th, so come back and see us for our treasure hunt.
The West Coast Makers Foodie Fest ran from noon to 6 in Hayward, proving that when local businesses unite, the community shows up. From Chabot College, I am Alan Sampson, reporting for Evolve the Earth.
Organizers say the West Coast Makers Foodie Fest continues to grow each year, creating more opportunities for local entrepreneurs and artists to showcase their work. This event is expected to return to Chabot College on March 14th and April 4th. We sent our own reporter Greg Driscoll out on campus to see what people's favorite street foods are.
Up to like street vendors who sell fruit on the street. Especially my mom, that's what she does. She sells fruits, and she puts like tajin on there, limon, sal, all the good stuff and everything, and it's just so refreshing.
Favorite street food is called Chabot.
Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so it's essentially like it's sweet tofu, brown sugar, and tapioca pearls. It's a delicacy in the Philippines, and for those of you who know, they walk around with the huge like tubs, and they're holding it with like a stick, and they're walking through the neighborhood going Taho, Taho. So instant classic.
My favorite food when I'm in downtown Oakland is street tacos. Yeah, I love a good steak street taco. And maybe I'll get 1 chicken, so do 2 steak, 1 chicken.
I like fresh made pastor tacos. Hella good with pineapple, freshly made.
Thanks for that report, Greg. Spring is just around the corner, and you don't have to look any further than a field in San Diego County, California, for proof. This is the Carlsbad Ranch, and it claims to have one of the largest flower fields. It has been run by the same family for more than 60 years. The owners carefully cultivate 55 acres every year, and it takes about 6 months for the flowers to grow. But the field's operation manager says about 14 to 20 acres are already in bloom and ready to welcome visitors when the ranch opens for visitors on Sunday. The peak bloom will be in early April, and spring means that baseball is just around the corner. So let's go to sports with Manny.
Thanks, Enrique. Major League Baseball has suspended outfielder Jurickson Profar for the entire upcoming season. MLB's action follows his second positive test for a performance-enhancing drug. The Atlanta Braves outfielder is expected to miss his team's entire 162-game schedule. Second-time offenders of baseball's joint drug prevention and treatment program are sidelined for an entire season. Profar also tested positive for a PED last season, leading to an 80-game suspension following the Braves' first 4 games. Reportedly, the Players Association will appeal Profar's suspension. If it is upheld, Profar would lose his $15 million salary for the rest of the season. This is the second year of a 3-year contract for Profar with the Braves. CNN projects former Major League Baseball star Mark Teixeira will win the Republican primary in a Texas district that includes sections of San Antonio. Teixeira, who received an endorsement from President Donald Trump, is looking to succeed GOP Representative Chip Roy, who is campaigning for a state attorney general. The former first baseman had a 14-year career playing for several teams, including the Atlanta Braves and the Texas Rangers. He also won a World Series with the New York Yankees back in 2009. That's it for sports. Back to you, Enrique.
Thanks for that sports update, Manny. In Colorado, bee colonies are dying out because of their warmer days. This winter, experts in Colorado Springs are concerned that even more bees will be lost in the months ahead. Bill Folsom reports.
Bees foraging among blossoms. Unusual because this is video captured in Colorado Springs when it's still winter and spring is still weeks away.
The bees at this time of year
should be in a tight cluster, keeping themselves warm, riding out the winter.
And we want them to go into winter with about the equivalent of about 120 pounds of honey stores, which would be 2 of these big boxes on this hive.
Normally most domesticated honeybees will break cluster and they start flying about 45 degrees.
Leonard and Dolly Rickerman have been raising bees for decades. It's expanded into teaching others how to do it along with a small beekeeping business. This is video of all their beehives. They point out there's too many bees outside. It's the result of Colorado's extra warm winter.
Because they're out flying so much, they're consuming all the resources that are normally in the hive for them. And the big fear is this month and next month, there's a high probability of hives starving out.
All the movement burns energy. Finding more to eat, like on that one blossoming tree, is rare. Instead, most vegetation is still dormant, so they end up eating their stored honey.
It's disconcerting about this winter is people are coming in with their dead hives a lot earlier.
This day, the Rickermans have done what's called a hive autopsy. It's for another beekeeper. Starvation is the likely reason.
They just didn't have enough resources to survive the winter.
Extra warm days are also confusing queen bees. Some are laying eggs months early. If cold days hit or more bees continue to die from lack of food, odds are higher those young bees will be lost.
There's not enough nurse bees there to take care of them. They are going to die, yeah. And they have to be kept warm and fed and things like that. So it's a huge thing.
Thanks for that report, Bill. The next 6 to 8 weeks will be key. Beekeepers say if dandelions bloom, that it's a good sign as it represents a first or early food source for the bees. There's a special dog in Texas looking for a new home. Blackie was apparently homeless when he was taken under the wing of some Border Patrol agents. And one day he helped bring a happy ending to another group of lost animals. Olivia Vada reports.
This one right here has a broken pelvis. I've never seen this ever in 23 years of rescuing, so he's a special boy. Blackie, are you Blackie?
Karen Washington is the president of Positive Rescuers of El Paso. She says this past December, Blackie showed up to the river downtown past the railroad tracks.
Back then he was skin and bones, and the Border Patrol agents took him under their wing and started feeding him.
He stuck around and kept them company. One day, Blackie trusted them enough to ask for their help. He brought a kitten from the riverbed to the agents, asking them to save it. The Border Patrol contacted Positive Rescuers.
Usually I see the opposite, where dogs are chasing cats, and he's just a very gentle soul. He's like an old soul. He just knew.
Washington told Border Patrol where there is one kitten, there are usually more. One of the agents searched along the riverbank and found the rest of the litter.
Remember, hold it straight. Yeah, up and down straight. There you go.
A volunteer with Positive Rescuers brought the kittens to her favorite hangout, the Riviera, and taught her friends how to feed them.
They're thriving. They are being bottle fed right now with a wonderful foster here on the west side. And I think they will be up for adoption as well eventually.
Blackie received his first bath in a long time and his first round of vaccines as he begins his journey to find a forever home.
Thanks for the heartwarming report, Olivia. Blackie will soon be up for adoption. It goes without saying he'd fit in great with a household that has cats. That's all for Chabot News this week. Thanks to all the students and staff in the Mass Communications Department here at Chabot College for making this production possible. You can watch us anytime at YouTube. You can watch us anytime online at youtube.com/ChabotTV. Stay tuned to KCTH Channel 27 on Comcast for more Chabot TV.